Welcome to the PT Marketing Power Hour, highlighting successful marketing strategies from North America's fastest growing clinics so you can learn from their wins and power your practice growth. We have another great episode today, so don't forget to hit subscribe on YouTube or wherever you get your podcasts. Now, here's your host, physical therapist, marketing expert, and CEO of Practice Promotions, Neil Trickett. We are very excited to have Chad Madden here with us. Very likely for many of you needs no introduction. He is the founder of Madden Physical Therapy, now Madden and Gilbert, as well as co-founder of Breakthrough. He was able to scale his practice that he opened in 2003 to $8 million in annual revenue through direct consumer marketing. He took those best practices and began to teach others how to do the same through Breakthrough. He's the author of 3 books, Pain-Free Motion for Your Lower Back, Killer Marketing Secrets, and Back to Normal. He also hosts the Grow Your Practice podcast. If you are a podcast nut, go check that out. He still lives in East Hanover, Pennsylvania, still involved with the clinic. He knows what it's like to go through that day to day. And we're very excited to hear what Chad is having success with on the Facebook side of things. I know a lot of you are very interested in can that work for you? So Chad, take it away.
Awesome. Thank you for having me. And so in our session here, in our time together, we're going to go through Facebook ads. The important thing is, as you're going through, really recommend that you take some notes, because this applies to same principles typically apply to Instagram, Google, YouTube, anywhere that you're putting content. So let's talk about what's working right now. And just to give you an idea, we're advertising, guiding about $400,000 a month. I think it was over 4,000 events last year that we did with Facebook ads. So we're into this pretty deep. I'm going to be sharing a lot of data with you here. In our time together, we'll do a quick introduction of why this is important, why we should be advertising on Facebook as part of our marketing mix. We're going to talk about best practices that we actually got from ad reps from Facebook. And as many of you know, Kathy on our team literally worked for Facebook for 3 years. So we have a lot of information there, behind the scenes look at what they're doing. We'll share some case studies, and then basically what you can do to implement the same thing for yourself. So who are we at Breakthrough? Hey, Neil, camera is working.
Yeah, there you go.
Great. So at Breakthrough, really our mission is to help people in pain get back to normal naturally. The best way for us to do that is by working with practice owners just like you, to help people in your area leave a bigger impact and impact more lives. So this is newer. So this might be the first time seeing this for you. We have a flywheel. So I feel inspired after watching Rick's session to have you go to the chat and share. Does anybody know where the flywheel is from? It's from a very famous business author. You can type that in the chat. So we apply this to marketing. And in this case, marketing, if we go back to 2014, 2015, when we first started Breakthrough, and I know in the early days of Practice Promotions, Neil and I had a lot of conversations around this. Really, at that time, we were just trying to help the industry, the private practice PT industry, go from relying on physician referrals and transition over to direct-to-consumer marketing. And we'll talk about that more here a little bit later on. But now it's really about patient demand, and we want to think about full spectrum. So if you've ever heard yourself wondering, I wish more people in my area knew what physical therapy could do for them, that's the way that we solve that is with patient demand. And the first thing that we're going to focus on here is attraction. Right. So this is online advertising, might include offline advertising if you're using print, radio, TV in your area, but it's thinking through campaigns and then conversion systems such as pre-built landing pages where you're capturing that information. The next thing is what Rick and Call Hero, what Rick just shared with you, which is that conversion aspect. And what we're finding right now, especially in our industry, is a lot of marketers, a lot of private practices, they're kind of ignoring the importance of that conversion. So 7 or 8 years ago, the problem was, okay, we need to do direct to consumer marketing, stop having, stop relying on the fax machine, the faxed physician script as the lifeline of our business. And we need to switch over, learn something new, direct to consumer marketing. Now it's okay, we have the marketing in place, but we're not sure how to convert that over. And that involves the call scripting that Rick just shared with you, lead management. I know many of us are stuck in spreadsheets and thinking through how to do that the right way. There are some softwares out there, some of them really expensive, like a HubSpot or Salesforce, that are way more expensive than what we need. And then there are some custom applications that you can also use for lead management. There's the email automation. Most of us in private practice are calling those email blasts. And then also two-way texting, right? We have to have that human interaction once the ad does its work, which will be the primary focus here. Then we have to focus on that human interaction. And then underneath it all, we have to measure, right? Rick just shared, I think it was secret number 4 or 5, where he talked about tracking. And I know I just got my practice promotions postcard literally 30 minutes ago about, entering in our monthly numbers, right? But we have to be able to measure what is happening with our direct to consumer marketing, so we can do more of what works and less of what doesn't work, all things relative, and get to reliable, consistent practice growth. Is advertising on Facebook worth it? We're going to go into that here right now. So I want you to take a 30,000 foot view here for a second. If you look at what is happening in the US, if we pull the latest numbers, and we literally pull these off of cms.gov. So 2019, latest numbers out. The last time that I checked, we're spending in this country now over $4 trillion per year just in healthcare, right? It's 1 out of every $6, soon to be 1 out of every 5, just in healthcare expenses. If you look at where that money is going, it is not going to conservative care, which you and I are a part of. So if you've heard me say this before, great. I want you to go to the chat. Percentage-wise, what percentage of the $4 trillion is spent on physical therapy, occupational therapy, and speech? You can put that in the chat right now. Just want to see if we have a correct answer. Pam says 5%. And this is shocking, but all of conservative care, which includes dentistry, podiatry, chiropractic care, et cetera, is 10%. Jennifer's getting closer. Dan, good guess. PT, OT, speech combined is 2.6%, right? It's pretty anemic. Yet you and I frequently feel guilty if we're, given 6 visits or 8 visits for somebody and we ask for 2 more visits, right? We're made to feel like we're the problem. We are not the problem. So if we're looking at where that money is really going, 72% of that money, or of the $12,000 per person per year that we're spending in the US, it's $1,000 per person a month. So $720 per person per month here in the US goes to medications, injections, surgery, diagnostic imaging by way of hospital system or physician office. That is a lot of money. So $26 a month per person on PTOT speech combined, $720 per month per person on medicine, injection, surgery, diagnostic imaging. And if we follow through, how did that happen? And by the way, full credit to Mike Lewis, who led me in the right direction here. I know Mike is a practice promotions owner as well, customer as well. And he pointed me in the right direction here. So just wanted to thank Mike for that. Give Mike a shout out in the chat. Really cool guy and awesome owner. So anyhow, if we look ahead, things are only getting worse. We're not gaining in conservative care. We're actually losing a lot of ground. So if you follow the money, you can quickly see where that goes. We have the 2.6%, or here it's round down to 2%. 72% to medications, injections, surgery, diagnostic imaging. How did this happen? Well, there's a book. It's a little controversial. If you are going to pick this up and read it, realize the last 25% of the book is fairly political. But there's a good story of how this came to be. So if you go through the history of healthcare in the US and how it evolved, if you go back to the late 1800s and you took a look at, let's call it naturopathic medicine, and then also what became big pharma, they were neck and neck. And actually, naturopathic medicine, conservative care, was winning. So if we think back to, the late 1800s, kind of the birth of osteopathic manipulation in medicine and that whole realm, the least expensive pathway to getting better and better health, that was actually winning in the US. But over time, that started to lose. And what was going on is big pharma, at the time it was called patent medicines, they quickly understood the name of the game was owning the media. So if you go to 1900 and you look at the percentage of newspaper ads that were run by patent medicine, which now is big pharma, it was 80%, right? So you can trace the money over time, how the market shifted, and get into the mess where we are today, where things are expensive and ineffective. And if you're covering healthcare costs for your employees, you know as well as I do that every single year there's a larger and larger bill as we go along. 20 years ago, we were happy if we had a $5 or $10 copay. People would die for that today. Now it's a $5,000 or $7,500 deductible, and the premiums are through the roof. So it's quite a debacle. Anyhow, when we first started in private practice, however long you've been in private practice, for me, it's almost 20 years ago. The old way of how we would get referrals, the lifeline of our business, was you have people in pain in your community that have shoulder pain, neck pain, vestibular issues, whatever it may be. They go to their doctor, and the doctor was basically the gatekeeper, and they could refer out based on what they thought was appropriate. As well as I do, by the way, there are studies on this as well, that yes, physicians were influenced and are influenced by financial incentives. So, that's where things started to go awry. The new way is where we just circumvent that. And by the way, if you are very strong in physician referrals and you're crushing it there, I highly encourage you to keep that up. Good for you. That's fantastic. I know that's not the majority of our market though, right? So we have to resort to something else. For me, back in 2008, 2009, we really started to see this big shift in our area where 3 healthcare systems started buying up our referral sources, and now they employ more than 90% of our local market, right? So anyhow, there's a new way. We had to resort to direct to consumer, direct response marketing. And the way that we do that is we go direct to the consumer, and we use that same flywheel model that we talked about before, which is number one, we attract them. We get them to raise their hands so that if they have shoulder pain or neck pain or back pain, whatever it may be, they raise their hand and say, yes, I have an issue. I want to learn more about what I can do, right? And then we ultimately convert them once they raise their hand and they come in for a plan of care. So why else should we advertise on Facebook? And I know there's been Facebook has definitely made some waves in the water over the last few years with the change to Meta and the metaverse and the iOS changes that we all endured and had to figure out a year or so ago. But if you think about your target customer, for us, it's a 45 to 64-year-old family-oriented female. My guess is that, well, let me know, is that your target customer? Who's your target customer? You can type that in the chat. So while you're doing that, the latest are that there's 4.1 billion monthly visits in the US on Facebook. For us, our target demographic is on Facebook, right? She is consuming consuming information, whether it be news, looking at pictures of her children, her grandchildren, following her friends' children as they go off to college, et cetera. That's how she's consuming that media. And she's spending on average 58 minutes a day there. And you can see the respective usage rates amongst different demographics. It's an ideal audience for improving, creating predictable practice growth and also improving the payer mix. Let me back up here just because I didn't get any answers here in the chat, but who is your ideal demographic? So if you were to attract an ideal patient into your clinic, and just think of one person, who would that be? Is it a 15-year-old gymnast? Is it a 53-year-old grandmother, mother, etc.? Who do you want to attract into your clinic? Alex says 55-year-old woman with insurance. Janine says middle-aged mom with family, with kids in sports. Awesome. The same. Pam says active adult who can pay. Pretty smart there, Pam. Melissa says 30 to 60 years old. Trifo says 45-year-old female mom. Great. Paul says 35 to 75. Pretty big range there, Paul, but that's great. Kelsey, our area is typically older, 50 plus. Awesome. Thank you for that. So common questions are, I want to be on Facebook. Usually I'm not technical. I want to have an online presence. I want to advertise directly to consumers, but how do I do it, right? I'm not going to be able to figure this out. This is over my head. I have too much gray hair. I'm balding too much, and I'm not going to be able to figure this out. My kids are into it, right? The next level up is, should I do it myself? Should I hire an agency? Can I just hire my nephew to do it? He's good at tech, or my brother-in-law is my favorite one. Is there a turnkey system I can plug into? Or the next level up is, I know the rules on Facebook change a lot. I think one year they had over 460 changes in 365 days to their advertising rules. That's a lot to keep up with. We cheat a little bit. How do I mitigate that problem and not have my account shut down? So there's 4 levels of thought on this. At the most basic level, I just want to have a presence there. I want to check the box. I want to have a company page or a business page or a group. And I'm going to have some regular goodwill posts. I don't even care if we do them or not. They can be generic. They can have stock photos. And there's nothing wrong with that, but I just want to be able to check that box. And by the way, there's nothing wrong with this. It works really well. I've seen some owners do it really well, and it's more than sufficient. But that's a certain level of owner thought. Next level is, I just want to learn how to run my own Facebook ads. I want to build my own ads. I want to manage them. I want to hop into Infusionsoft or Keep or Campaign Monitor or ClickFunnels or whatever it may be. I want to build my own landing pages, and I want to run my own automation. I'm a do-it-yourselfer, and I take pride in saving money. Next level up is, I want to market direct to the consumer and realize that people in pain in my area are on Facebook, that they're consuming this media. I want a measurable return on my marketing dollars. So I'll use direct response marketing while providing goodwill. I want to focus on mastering how the media is used, but I'm never going to understand how to build everything. And the final one, and this was a newer thought that we ran into over the last 12 to 24 months, is, okay, there are a ton of COVID restrictions. We can't get into the physician offices like we did before. There's a lot of changes. We just want a bigger pond. We want to grow what we're doing. We're nailing patient marketing, right? We're sending out our patient newsletter and our patient email campaigns. We have that on lockdown. We're getting plenty of word of mouth referrals. We have the physician referrals under wrap. We have that back to normal, but we want to grow. We want to have a bigger pond to play in, and we don't know how to do that until we go to the cold traffic. Facebook is one of the best ways for you to do that. So it's a media where there's tons of cold traffic. It's also, if you think about it, it's a very it's a pattern interruption. So when you scroll Facebook, it's busy, right? So if we understand the principles of it, we can play the game and have some success there. So there's levels of Facebook advertising. You can have organic posts. So how many of you are doing organic posts right now? You can just type organic in the chat. Yeah, so it's free, but the downfall is you have a limited reach. So if you're posting organically, one of the really quick tips that we use is we'll share it. We use Slack for internal communication. We'll share the post, and then our staff of 85, 90, however many team members we have right now, they will share that post as well. So we get more mileage out of the organic. I recommend you do the same thing. You can boost a post from your page, right? You can do some targeting there, limited targeting. You're definitely going to get an improved reach because you're paying to get eyeballs on it. but there's limited optimization on what you can do. And then you can actually get into Ads Manager, where and this is really where we excel, where you're doing paid traffic, you're doing advanced targeting, you're doing all placement options, in terms of how your ads show up in your area, and you have specific ad objectives as well. So there's less guessing. As you move to the right, you can get more specific about who you're targeting and what your result looks like. So how to avoid setbacks and ad rejections. This is probably the number one reason that I get texts, emails, direct Facebook messages, et cetera, from owners is, my account was shut down, or this ad's not going through. What do I need to do? And the big secret is I don't operate in Facebook on a daily basis, right? We have a team that does it. I only understand the concepts, and that's what I'm going to share with you here. So best practices, you want to comply with all applicable laws and policies that apply to them. I know Rick being, working with physios up in Canada, there are some provincial rules, right? In the States here, we have your state board of PT. In Canada, each province has their own college or their own university, their own board that determines what is legal and ethical, et cetera. You want to make sure that you're complying with all laws there. Stay away from direct questions about medical conditions, as they imply the advertiser knows a user's condition, right? So you can't say something like, do you have neck pain? Or do you have shoulder pain? Are you suffering with back issues? Something like that, right? Think you have a herniated disc. You can't do that. So you want to avoid using you or your in the copy of your advertisement. You want to focus on the product or benefit and the result, rather than the medical condition of the user. So you can talk about future pacing, right? Something along the lines of, if you think about somebody with back pain, what do they want to be doing? Well, they want to be likely walking again, or they want to be able to hit a golf ball or lift up their grandkids, etc. And Jen, I saw your question in here. We are going to have a Q&A here in a few minutes, so I'll get to your question first. Some examples of what are allowed. You can get these on the screen. Learn more about how to manage back pain. This month is Shoulder Pain Awareness Month. Learn more and share stories here. Product helps to prevent drowsy eyes. Literally, we got this from our Facebook rep. Not allowed, suffering from blank. Learn more here. Whatever the condition is can cause you to lose focus. Headaches, for example, can cause you to lose focus. Get your children the help they need. That was for a pediatric example. If you do get rejected, you can appeal the rejection. And this was current a few months ago. I think it's still the same exact way to appeal. If you have an ad rejection, they make it easy. We have found them increasingly more efficient in terms of dealing with Facebook ad rejections. If you spend a little, you can usually access support in the Facebook's Business Help Center. Ultimately, you want a human to review your ad. So continue to appeal until you either learn how to change and modify, or you get the answer that you're looking for. The other thing that I would just caution you with is beware of the boost. So it is very easy to get into vanity metrics on Facebook. And, I've had friends, owners that I'm working with, and they'll show me and they'll say, look, this video, this ad, whatever we did, we had this post got 2,000 views, right? And this is a little secret. If you're comparing a Facebook view to a YouTube view, they're very different. YouTube usually involves some sort of viewership. You have to click on the ad or click on the video and actually watch it. Facebook has a lower threshold of requirements. So if somebody is scrolling through quickly, which if you've ever watched somebody, your target market, utilize Facebook, they're scrolling through pretty quick, right? And so if that's happening, you want to be aware and not just chase vanity metric. The only thing that we're really looking for, the only thing that we're worried about is how many people are signing up for a plan of care from our actual ads, right? Are we generating interest? The other thing that is that we're really measuring as well is what is the overall effect to our new patients, right? So two things we're tracking there: direct conversions over to a plan of care. That's all we're really worried about. And then our overall boost to marketing, because this is part of the recipe as well. So are you running right now? Are you running Facebook ads? So just type in FB in the chat if you're running Facebook ads currently. Pam says nope. Avery said Avery Trefo. Yep. Alex, awesome. We have some no's in there. Hey, what's up, Jeff? Morgan, no. Facebook only when having workshops. Sometimes. Okay. So here's a few principles you're going to want to write down and keep track of if you are on Facebook or any other online media. Number one is the biggest mistake that we see across the board as healthcare clinician service providers, not just physical therapy, but especially in physical therapy, is we tend to focus on ads that make us feel good, or ads that shine the spotlight on how great we are. So if you watch your local hospital system or healthcare system, what will happen is they'll typically announce things that are great about their healthcare system. So we have somebody new joining, or we just opened up a new branch or something like that. It's really like shareholder type business news in terms of how they're using that advertisement, right? The ad essentially says, look, we're great, right? What we found works the best when we're advertising to a cold market. So when we have an avatar group, that ideal customer, that demographic that we're trying to target, when we're successful, the more we focus on them, the more successful we're going to be, right? Which is tricky on Facebook because you can't say you or your, right? So people in pain, if you've ever talked with a friend or family member that is in severe, urgent, I need help right now type level pain, and they're really in need of your services, the more you focus on them, right? And this is the thing I loved about Rick's call scripts is it was complete focus, literally 100% focus on the caller, right? Not here's how great we are. We're the premium rehab provider in our area. We're the best. We have a high quality of care, et cetera. Like all that stuff is out the window, right? It's focus on that other person. Your ads should be doing that same thing. So you want to test a lot. Obviously, that's part of it. You want to be a scientist with your marketing as well. Fire the losers, promote the winners. Seems pretty obvious. Do more of what works, less of what doesn't. And the other thing that you need to do is pay attention. So winners don't stay winners forever. We have ads that were working amazingly well 2 or 3 years ago. They fell out of favor maybe a year ago, and now they're coming back again. We have a team that is just constantly monitoring that every single day. So here's another example. This is hopefully we don't have a chiropractor from San Francisco on this call here, but here's a chiropractor saying we are different, right? Just focus on us, focus on us, focus on us. That is what not to do, right? You want to focus on them. So learn more, learn how to manage back pain or something like that. And you're thinking about the problem from the perspective patient's point of view, not your point of view as a clinician. The second thing is that when you're targeting cold traffic, right? And I talk with a lot of owners. Neil and I did a podcast on this in the past, but we have an awareness scale, right, in our area. And on one end, we have extreme awareness. So this is going to be people who are on your patient list. They've already bought services from you in the past, whether it's cash pay or insurance base, right? They've been a customer before, and that is warm. We'll call that warm traffic, right? On the other end of the awareness scale, we have cold traffic. These are people that not only do they not know you, they're not even aware that there's physical therapy, or that physical therapy, your services can help them in any way at all, right? So we have warm, which is very aware, and we have cold, which is not aware at all. And they're just so you know, there are 3 levels in between. There's a pretty good gradient scale. It's from a book called Breakthrough Advertising by Eugene Schwartz, but I digress. So back on this, so you can't take what your receptionist, what your caller, is saying, the representative for your office, what she is saying to a warm traffic person, a patient that's already been to you a year ago for a total knee replacement is now coming back in for a vestibular issue, right? You can't take that same exact conversion mechanism and apply it, the same operating procedure, and then apply it to cold traffic. It's a different beast altogether. And you have to realize that not everyone is ready for an appointment. Here's another thing that we'll see a lot, as well, is we'll talk with practices, and our group even did this. So my internal marketing team here at Madden and Gilbert did the same thing, is they took a look at their conversions from Google, and they extrapolated it over to cold traffic. Well, if somebody's searching on Google, right, they're not only pain aware, they're also solution aware, because they're likely searching physical therapy by me or something very specific, right? We don't get a ton of cold traffic as a percentage from Google, because the person has to be aware enough to actually search for our potential solution, right? So realize not everyone is ready for an appointment. You're going to have to test different offers, and also build trust over time, nurture that relationship over time, especially when they're cold traffic. So some paid ads and offers that work. Obviously, we're known for workshops. Workshops are a great mechanism to not only convert your existing and present patients for other diagnoses, but they're amazing conversion mechanism for cold traffic when they're done right. So we've also done, virtual workshops or workshops on demand, various versions of that. And you can also test free screens. Quick word of caution on free screens to completely cold traffic. You can wear out a market quickly, get very quick ad fatigue if you're running free screen offers all the time, right? It's free screens are not the best conversion mechanism for completely cold traffic, because that person is unaware. Again, they're unaware of physical therapy. They're especially unaware of you and your practice. So usually it requires a little bit more of a commitment from them, and that's where workshops step in. So here's another example of what works. This is twice a year we run these. So 4 weeks a year we're promoting this. It's a day of free exams. I use typically, and our team uses this as well in direct response, a copywriting formula from John Carlton, but it's here's what I've got, here's what it will do for you, so the benefit, and here's how to get it. Very, very simple. And even if you watch many of our breakthrough videos, if you've ever watched them, I go back to that same exact very simple formula. So whether I'm a PT and we're advertising for potential patients, or whether it's at breakthrough, we typically use that formula over and over. It's a classic, very dependable. You need some sort of tested eye-catching relevant image, and then you have a benefit headline and the CTA button. And on Facebook, you want to make sure that you get as specific as you can when you're targeting your target market, your avatar, without going beneath a certain threshold. So the Facebook Ads Manager walks you through this pretty well. So you don't want to jump straight into the marriage. Again, remember, we're looking to attract first, get those people in pain to raise their hand, and then convert them over with nurture, conversion systems, call scripts, training for your team, etc. Again, I know I'm viewed as a technology expert. I can tell you right now, behind the scenes, I am not. I don't even answer my own email unless there's something very urgent in there. So our team does a nice job of keeping me away from technology. I'm an owner just like you, but I want to at least say that times haven't passed me by, and we're still embracing technology. So we have, resident experts here that really understand that. We have a lot of data. So Ombex is on here. He's our data scientist that is able to pull all the numbers for us. Kathy, Robin, Gene, the rest of the team. Carl is on here, co-founder, bottom right corner. Carl was the head of online sales at Tesla Motors when we met nearly 10 years ago, and had been at Silicon Valley startups, Johnson & Johnson, et cetera. So we have a team of people behind this, doing this. What can this do for your practice? I'm going to give you 3 quick case studies. The first is Luke and Ashton Haynes. They're in Texas, private practice owners who also do an amazing job with dry needling. They had a 46% increase in their visits. We just talked to them. I believe they are planning, if not, have already planned an open of their second clinic. So growing, expanding, having all the good problems of practice growth by going direct to the consumer on Facebook. This is one of my favorite owner groups ever was Joe and Kathy Scarpito. I can remember when we first launched Breakthrough years ago, and we were having owners come to my office here in Harrisburg. They drove out from New Jersey. Kathy was an amazing student and just asked a ton of questions and was super interested. They had a practice valuation done, and it wasn't exactly where they needed to be, but they were looking to exit and retire from their private practice. They worked with us for a year with Facebook advertising, put in the workshop model, that direct-to-consumer marketing model, and they more than double the value of their practice in 12 months. So they have now completely retired. If you're friends with Kathy and Joe on Facebook, you'll see a ton of grandchildren pictures. I think they just had a grandchild within the last week, if I remember right. And another one of our favorite owners, Bill Whiteford. Bill has 4 practice locations in 2 states. I believe it's Tennessee and I want to say South Carolina as well. But Bill has also flown here to Harrisburg, and although Bill has his own plane, which is a pretty cool story, but flew the Cessna up with the practice owners, and their main concern. And by the way, this 74 plans of care generated was June of 2020. So kind of the peak shutdown point, rebound after COVID had hit, the early pandemic. They were looking to open their 4th location in the fall of that year. So what they wanted to do and talking this over with them, they wanted to make sure the first 3 clinics were full, and they ran that day of free exams, and they had 74 plans of care generated for a total of $1,500 in total Facebook ad spend. The other thing that I want to say about with Bill and his group is for 8 or 9 years prior to us connecting through Breakthrough, Bill had done a lot of work, and his team had done a lot of work attempting to go direct to the consumer. So they were they really hit the ground running immediately, and we were able to solve the ads for them, solve the conversion systems for them as well. And they're a great group, and they've crushed it. So we have a special ad here, or a special offer here for the Digital Summit attendees. And so if you're watching this right now, you're only going to see this here, but you're going to get a $100 Amazon gift card or donation to a charity of your choice. And what you can do is go to getbreakthrough.com/digital summit, no space or hyphen there, but digital summit. And what you're going to do is, if you want to see how this can work for you, so have the attraction systems in place, conversion systems in place, measure system in place with the Breakthrough software and the Breakthrough platform, the same exact program that Ashton and Bill Whiteford and Joe and Kathy used as well, and work with our team. If you want to see what that looks like and have a demonstration, go to getbreakthrough.com/digital summit. And when you attend, you're going to get that $100 Amazon gift card or a donation to a charity of your choice.
Thanks again for joining us today. Be sure to check out practicepromotions.net/power. There, listeners can download over 9 checklists and free resources made to coach you through simple, proven marketing actions to increase new patients. So check it out today. That's practicepromotions.net/power, and I'll see you next time.